Let's go.
The Pioneer Football Show with head coach Jerry Odom. Complete coverage of Pioneer football. 2020 hindsight with coaches and player interviews, along with the numbers behind the scoreboard. The Pioneer Football Show with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. Now, Brian Staten.
The Tusculum Pioneers and the Mars Hill Lions meet for the 35th time from Mears Stadium as two of the top offenses square off. Hello, everyone. I'm Brian Staten, joined by Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. By the numbers, the two top offenses that were squaring off, and one of the top defenses, obviously, in the South Atlantic Conference, also taking on an extremely dangerous Mars Hill team. I'm Brian Staten, joined by Pioneer coach Jerry Odom, and I think we go ahead and roll the highlights right now. We got a lot to get to in this one, but I think in this contest, Craig Rucker, you did the job on him because he was one of the most scariest guys over the last 2 weeks with 8 touchdowns in 2 weeks.
Craig's a great football player. We played probably more zone because of him. I didn't blitz as much as I normally do because of him a little bit. And the scheme they run, they do a good job with their scheme. We didn't play very well on defense. That's just the honest truth. Missed way too many tackles, were out of position too many times. But give them credit. They came back. It was a very interesting game.
Yeah, he was. We'll get into that as well. All right, so let's take a look at, as we're taking a look at some of these highlights, I wanted to touch on the offense because, 244 yards against the LR, something had to happen, and we get this first drive of the first series, and I went back and I looked, and we've scored touchdowns on our first drive, but I'm not sure we were as efficient at scoring a touchdown as we were at Saturday.
I thought we did a really, really good job of mixing things up. Threw the ball a little bit, 3-step game, came back with some 5-step, faked a jet sweep, ran the zone, ran the power. I think we just did a really nice job of mixing up what we do and then making them be effective with their eyes. And what I mean by that is anytime you can give window dressing to a zone, you fake a jet sweep, or you fake a reverse, or you have an RPO, or even if you don't run those things, it still makes guys hold their position and gives you a better chance of knocking people off the ball. And I think we did a really good job game planning this week with those guys. It
was one of those situations where we used 3 running backs. I think Lorenzo Pratt comes out. After this first series, it was Gamillion for the most part, and we did put it on the ground once.
Yes, we did.
We were lucky Benson Napier was able to fall on it, but after that, I think Maurice it did exactly what you need to do. You move the chains, and he's running really hard right now.
Yeah, he did a really good job. He gets better every single time he goes out there. Guy can't take care of the football, obviously. But between him and Pratt and Maxwell, I think all those guys ran pretty effectively for the most part. I thought the offensive line did a good job getting a body on a body. I didn't think we took a lot of negative plays in the running game that put us behind the sticks, and I think that's a big part of why we had success.
It was a career day for basically, not necessarily your running game. We've seen that career day for them, but for Lorenzo Pratt, career high 83 yards, had 11 carries and the touchdown. Gamillion, 18 carries and 77 yards. You went with the 2 quarterbacks as well. Pistone comes out here on the very first drive, and I asked you during the radio show earlier this week, did you find that clear-cut guy? I think both of them had good games.
Yeah, I think they both pretty solid. Both made a couple mistakes, but I think competition makes everybody better, and I think they both competed really hard this week. And to me, when you compete, what's the difference? I don't look at it any different than linebacker, or tight end or running back. I mean, I know a lot of people do, but I'm not one of them. I was fortunate enough to be with some guy, a guy named Steve Spurrier that didn't care, and I think he taught me that as long as they get reps and they understand what you're trying to do, then you can get 2 guys ready. Now, I think it's tougher on Brian Ferguson to do that. I probably asked a lot of him this week, but I just believe that it makes those guys be like that much on in practice, and you're playing at a faster pace because you're competing for every single throw and every single read every single day to who's going to play and how much playing time you're going to get. And I felt like both of them handled it really well. We started Tommy, went 4 or 5 drives with him, throws a nice touchdown right there, and then we got Alex in there and threw some 3-step game early on to get him comfortable, and then we're able to do some different things there. So I think both of them did about what I thought they would probably do. We still got to, get rid of the crazy mistakes, that happened a little bit. But for the most part, I thought both of them played rather well.
All right, so your wide receiving core as well. We just saw Jake Moss make his first touchdown grab. He had 3 for 30. But Torrey Ponder, and it seems like we're talking about a new wide receiver every week. A.J. Bellinger, now Torrey Ponder.
Yep.
7 catches, 87 yards. And we saw on that opening drive a catch and then made about 4 or 5 guys miss and was very physical on the day.
Yeah, I thought Torrey had a really good game. He had another one called back because of a holding call on Pratt that would have been down to the 1 yard line, another 30-yarder or so. So, Torrey's very talented. Out of Colquitt County, Georgia, very talented guy. Came out of a very good high school system. We've just been kind of waiting for him to kind of, come out of, because you've seen it in practice and everything else. I just need him to that same, level every single week. We tried to keep him in one position, and I think that may have helped. We were moving him around a little bit. I thought we kept him at X more, and because of that, I think he probably was a little bit more efficient throughout the week.
Jacob Moss, two touchdown catches on the day, three grabs, 30 yards. The first one that you just saw there, we'll see another one coming up as well. And another guy that really emerged was Deshaun Davis. Not only did he make catches, but he made catches under pressure and held on to the football.
Yeah, he did a good job of getting first downs and everything. Even the fumble was a crazy play because he made 2 guys miss. He gets the first down, and then he makes another guy miss, and the guy literally is out of bounds. And when it comes back inbounds to cause goes out of bounds, and he's still out of bounds when he caused the fumble. It's kind of a weird deal. I didn't notice it at the time. That's the truth. We knew that the one on Tommy, the guy may have gone out of bounds and come back in to catch it, but I didn't catch that one. So really could have had no turnovers had we seen that on the sidelines, or had someone seen it on the sidelines.
Yeah, someone who was supposed to have seen it on the sidelines. We'll see Brooklander, I believe it's on this particular drive, a big catch as well. And I know that's who you want to use. Actually, right there it is. So I know you want to use the tight ends. We are extremely athletic at tight end.
Yeah, we're getting better there. We have 3 that we really trust, and then there's a couple other young guys that just need a little more time on task, knowing what they're doing. But we got to get Gary going a little bit, Connor going, Carter going. We got to use those guys in multiple ways other than just blocking. But now I will tell you this: when our tight ends have played well, we've won.
Yeah.
I don't know why that is, but when our tight ends have played really well, we've won. And I think a lot of that has to do with good blocking and then matchup problems and things like that. When you can be physical at the point of attack, and you cause matchup problems with speed teams and things like that. If you don't play well, then, which I didn't think they played especially well against LR, and that hurts us.
Right. Do you look at numbers like this? We had a season high for first downs. We had 28 against the best first down offense out there in the league, and Marcel, who was held to just 26, 8 of 12 on third down. I mean, what does that say about what your offense did?
Well, we challenged them because we didn't play very well last week, and I knew we were going to have to. I told you before the game, Marcel's really, really good on offense, and they've got several weapons, and their quarterback is just a winner. The guy's just a winner. He's a grinder. He runs with his feet. He's super accurate throwing the ball on the run. So because of that, offensively, I said, we got to score some points, boys. I don't think we can hold these guys down the whole game. And unfortunately, that came to fruition kind of late in the game. That they got that last touchdown with no time left. But we didn't play, like I said, we didn't play great on defense. Really, the offense and the special teams, I feel like, won this one.
It was the offense, special teams we'll talk about here coming up. But let's touch on the defense as well. I don't want to, and I know it's going to kill you because I think that you feel as if you guys could have played a whole lot better.
No, we should no. Come on now, Brian. We didn't play good.
469 yards. Austin Brown is that dual threat quarterback. You held Craig Rucker. I opened with that to just 34 yards receiving. He did have the touchdown. Craig Rucker over the last 2 weeks, 8 catches, and he'd almost had 500 yards receiving in 2 weeks of action. Just 2 opponents. You hold him to the season low, and you were telling me last night you had a little different scheme and maybe put too much attention on him.
I think I did. We didn't play well. We didn't run to the ball. We didn't tackle. They scored one of their touchdowns on a 4th and 3 where we blitzed right into it and whiffed. I mean, we just weren't, you hate to say when you get 11 opportunities or 10 for us because of the natural disaster to play the game, and you work 365, you have 365 days in a year. I tell them you got 355, 354 to work your behind off to play these games. And I said, it's a shame that I feel like we came out flat. And I kept telling them all week that you're not preparing the way I want you to prepare. I showed them film from 2016. 16. I could just see it in their eyes. And then we came out, got a turnover early, playing okay early, and then at halftime I said, we got to be able to put our foot on their neck right here, guys. We got to finish the job. And I said, if you don't, you let these guys back in, this thing's going to be a dogfight. It always is. And we didn't do it, and give them the credit for fighting back. Now, we got some crazy calls against us on a couple of those turnovers. But at the end of the day, when you go on the road, you have to beat the other team. And I'm not saying the officials are against us, but you have to think that way. You have to beat the officials, the other team. That's why that's why they call it a home field advantage. If it wouldn't be, then there would be no reason for there to be a home field advantage. Yeah. So I think the good thing is we found a way to win the game. Okay, the bad thing and the things we got to grind on, and I'm going to grind on them this week, as far as doing the little things right, tackling, running to the football. We're not coaching that. We're not going to coach effort. I'm not doing that. I'll play somebody else. I'm not, and the kids know that. They're well aware of how I feel about that. But we've got to schematically look at our eye. We didn't train our eyes very good. The things that we've been doing very, very well this year that we against real, other teams, we just didn't do. Right. We knew. They didn't do a whole lot new. They had one bootleg that we hadn't seen out of a little closed deal, and we weren't getting the proper information on what was going on out there, so it was hard to fix it. But everything else they did, we worked on, and we had a plan for. And that's the kind of thing, the empty thing, oh my goodness, we worked on that forever. And we just played that all screwy, and we didn't handle it well, and we did things that we never do. We lined up in a different position. It makes me not want to sleep just thinking about it. But at the same time, as bad as we played, we found a way to make plays, win the game. It should have been 31-21, and then we muck it up at the end and let them score with zero time left. But just frustrating for me as a head coach. Not very proud of our offense and special teams. They played outstanding, probably the better. It's one of their better games of the year. But to come out there and lay an egg like we did defensively, I don't care if Rucker got 400 yards and 469 is 469, whether he got them or somebody else got them. I don't care about that, Brian. We're trying to stop folks here. I'm not a moral victory guy. I think you know that about me. We didn't play well. We've got to play better this week, or they'll run us off the field.
Right. Austin Brown, he's that dual threat type
Great
guy.
Player.
You love him.
I do.
And you know what's coming.
I don't think he loves me, but I do love him.
But you know what's coming, and the kid was still able to make some plays.
That's the thing about Austin. He's faster than you think he is. And I kept telling the guys that this kid can run, and he's so accurate out of the pocket. Like you'd think, like we almost had 2 or 3 where we could, knocked it down or had a pick, but he was just on. And now the offense coordinator there does an outstanding job because he didn't give them a lot of hard throws though either.
Right.
The bootlegs, getting out of the pocket, some of the things. And the thing is, we just flat. I mean, we worked on these things, the RPO stuff, how to play it, and we just didn't handle it. That's the only way I can say it. We did not handle it well, and it's my fault on that part. But the offensive special team bailed everybody out, and we found a way to win. At the end of the day, it's like I told them. I said, I'm not happy, but I'd rather be on you about a win, than an ugly win than a pretty loss any day. So because we can fix those other things, because in 2 weeks it's just as a W.
Right. Yeah, it's exactly right. There were some plays in this for the defense, obviously, that they had to come up with. They did. David Johnson with an interception on that possession. It got us a field goal there, and then a couple of other things down the road. And a fourth down stop as well.
Right.
Your special teams. You have to have a guy come in, flip the field. We didn't have that. In the second half, we had 4 possessions, and we didn't have a single punt, which tells you a little bit about what we did in the second half offensively. Total flip-flop from what happened first half to the second half for the Pioneers. I think we struggled just a little bit just because of those crazy turnovers that we did have. But special teams, I still think was a big win because I think Cantrell punted well, we kicked well, we covered well, and Defada kicks a career-long field goal.
The biggest thing, like we kicked off a bunch, right, because we scored. Our kickoff team's been very, very good this year. They're taking pride in going down there and being physical and fast. And because of that, I think the farthest they ever got out was like 26-yard line. Yep. We try to pin them inside the 20 if we can, but that's not always going to happen depending on the kick. We got to have a little bit better kick from my man Glick. But, at the end of the day, those guys are taking ownership in that stuff, and I think our two coaches are doing an outstanding job with that. Chaz Scales and Austin Miner are doing a really good job with their guys on that. We just got to keep doing that, because at some point it's going to affect the game to hopefully we win a game. I mean, you look at the LR game, Newberry was up 14-0, then all of a sudden they get two punt returns from one of their punt return team, and it changes the whole aspect of the game. So if you don't work on these things, you can get beat by them. And we've got a great challenge this week because Newberry's very athletic.
Right, exactly. We'll talk about that for sure. One of these guys for us, we were talking about covering up the single play. We talked about some of the defensive plays. We see right there, you dialed up a blitz. Josh Forrest comes in. This is the first drive of the second half, and Forrest comes in, does the right thing. Brown's still athletic enough. He gets rid of it.
How he gets rid of it was beyond me.
I don't know how.
And accurately.
Yeah.
If we don't knock it down, he's going to catch it.
We're worried a little bit about his athleticism, obviously, and you're going to see some of these kind of messed up plays here. But Malik Goodman, he's the SAC Defensive Player of the Week this week, and there's a reason. When you come up almost in our keys to the game during the radio show, we said, I think that the defense needs to come up with a scoop and score, pick six or something along those lines to get us going or keep us going. He didn't do that, but what he did do was prevent them from scoring. It seems as if they were running downhill and they were ready to score. Goodman comes up with that timely play, and then you come up with 8 and almost 7 minutes of a drive killer, even though we did have the turnover. But 7 minutes is impressive.
Well, and the thing is, if you go back and look at it, we got a second down holding where it had nothing to do with the play. I'm still not sure about what's holding anymore, because I got told one thing last week, then the officials told me one thing this week, so it's hard for me to figure it out all the time. But that's a whole nother story. But my point is we would have a first down. They had already used 2 timeouts. They're down to 1 timeout. We get if they don't call the holding penalty, we get the first down. Game's over.
Yeah,
I mean, we run a play. They take their last time. We take 2 knees. The game's over. It's a minute 30 left. So that part we've got to learn to finish a little bit better. I would have liked to see us right before half maybe spike the ball. Like we didn't get our time management needed to be a little bit better there. But overall, like I said, I felt like this is a game that the offense went out there, didn't play well last week. They competed like crazy this week, and because of that, they won. This is one of those crazy turnovers where it just came out of Tommy's trying to throw the ball away. He had a guy wide open, had a little bit of pressure, and the pressure, I think, he probably panicked just a hair, because there really wasn't a lot of pressure. But what you can't see is that guy went out of bounds when he was covering us off of cover 2 right there and came back in bounds to pick the ball. That's illegal. Once you go out of bounds as a defender, you can't recause anything else to happen in the game. It's called illegal participation. So I didn't see it either, but some of the offensive guys did and said something to me. So here's the Deshaun play. Deshaun right here makes an unbelievable catch. So he makes this guy miss. Then that guy comes back. His feet are out of bounds when he makes the tackle that causes the fumble to give them the ball back. I mean, it was an interesting game.
We talked
without getting myself in trouble.
But we'll talk more on that story, because that's coming up here in a moment. Pioneers, who entered the game as the least penalized team in the league for a reason, had 13 penalties, which was a season high for 116 yards. One of the most penalized teams in the league.
You can see it right there. The guy's still out of bounds when he makes the hit.
The Mars Hill Lions had only had 5 penalties in the contest for 70. Now, they were some of the big ones, but that was it. Now, I think what we're going to see here is something that we've never seen, I think, maybe in college football. And, Austin, again, just a tremendous player. This play goes for targeting, and a player was ejected. That was Nelson Luis, and we'll talk more about him coming up. They later said, no, that wasn't him, but we had lost Nelson for a drive and a half, basically. And by the time he got back out there, the second drive that Mars Hill had, it was over, and they had scored again. I don't know. I don't see a whole lot there, but I do know that they then sent a guy off who wasn't even in the game. Have you ever been a part of something like that?
No. The answer is no. It was very interesting. They asked me if I knew who did the targeting. It's like, I didn't call the penalty, so I don't know. And that was honest truth. And I do understand what they were saying. They're like, if it's way out in the open, You see it, it's targeting. I get it. You know, hey, you know who did it. Now, I mean, the one against, who was it we played there? Shorter.
Yeah.
I had him off the field before they could get him off the field because, you know, you knew what it was. But that was a kind of a bang-bang play. It didn't look like anything crazy, but they said somebody did it. Well, I had 3 guys hit him, and I was looking at the cover 2 blitz that we were running, so I didn't really see it. And then they asked me if I knew. I told them no, and then they told me I did know, and I'm like, okay. And then we, you know, it was interesting. It was a very interesting situation the whole week.
Well, you talked about then the 4th down play, which we just saw. They scored
that was
the touchdown.
Crazy. They scored a touchdown on 4th and 3. We blitz right into it, and we whiff. We just whiff.
Yeah.
I mean, the guy deads are right, and that's our best player probably on defense, or one of them, and Ivan Hogan's. He didn't play well. He knows it. He'll be the first guy to tell you I stuck it up, and those are the things we haven't been doing, and that's frustrating for me a little bit. You know, that we have something called that's really, really good, and we just kind of blow it. Yeah,
Mars Hill team, though, and you're going to be upset because you're sitting there coming at me and saying, no, it's just a 3-point game. You know, it's just another game here. It's just another close game. I think this was one of those games, even though the score, as we see it here, 24-21, we're going to drive in and make it 31-21,
right.
And we'll put the end to this highlight. I never got this sense that we were never out of control in this game.
No, I don't think so. I think there was a couple of scary times that we just, like when we were playing defense, they were going fast, and we did. Like I said, when you're not into what you're doing, you don't handle those things very well. And I could tell, you know, all week that we just didn't prepare the way I want us to prepare. And we talk about Tuesday through Thursday, we got to be the most prepared team in the conference. And if we're not, then we're not going to have it. You know, we're selling ourselves short. But I do agree with you that we kept our composure. We kept playing. I thought the offense answered the call every time they needed to. We got off the field. I thought the game was going to be over a couple different times, and it just never ended up being over. You know, it seemed like it was just kept on going. And we did some of that to ourselves. That's the truth. We did some of that to ourselves, and we got to take responsibility for it. We had 2 D linemen at the end of the game run off the field, didn't tell anybody for no apparent reasons, and then we get a substitution penalty where we have an apparent pick or a chance to get a pick. And you know, now all of a sudden it's, you know, we let them score with no time left to make it 31-28. Bad beat.
Yeah.
Definitely a bad beat.
We were talking about that.
Definitely a bad beat.
Malik Goodman, as Mars Hill was going in, will be the final play that we'll see here. And again, it's just a, you know, it's 31-21, and there's 11 minutes to play in the game right now, everything to play for, and he just comes up with a play.
Well, you know, Swag didn't do a very good job, Colton Strickland, and we get one guy try to wrap him up, and he just tackles the ball, and we work on that. That's something that we do work on, but that's, you know, that's instinctual. That's just a good football player to be in, a good football player, and obviously Malik's a good player, and he's probably very, very underrated for what we do because he's not flashy and everything else, but he runs the show back there. He knows what's going on. He really coached the stuff. Now, I didn't mean he didn't make mistakes and everything because you know, obviously everybody does. But I think he's a guy that's kind of the linchpin of that defense back there.
The Tusculum Pioneers knock off the Mars Hill Lions by a final score of 31-28 Mir Stadium. Yes, Mars Hill would score just a little bit late with zeros on the clock, and I've never seen them allow to kick the extra point either, even with no time. In the NFL, you do.
Bad beat.
Definitely a bad beat, no question. We'll come back. It's homecoming week. We'll talk about the Newberry Wolves and how dangerous they'll be from Pioneer Field Saturday with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. That's when the Pioneer Football Show continues after this.
So much of life these days is rushing around from one place to another. Sometimes you just want to enjoy the journey on the way to the destination. And part of what makes it a little more enjoyable is an appreciation for the folks who help you get there. At Ingalls, we know that the people who send you on your way are the same ones who keep you coming back.
I think you should take it for a spin. Are you serious?
Ingalls, all the ingredients for family. Family.
Food's here!
What's it mean to you?
We got lunch.
To us, it means the people you care about, look out for, and yeah, love. Even if you'd never let them hear you say it.
Hey, you're eating hummus?
What's wrong with hummus?
Here at Ingalls, we have everything you need to gather around the table and give each other a hard time. Because that's what families do. Ingalls, all the ingredients for family.
We welcome you back into the Pioneer Football Show with Pioneer coach Jerry Odom. Pioneers knock off Mars Hill. We talked about getting back in this thing. I think you just control your own destiny, and that just means you go 1-0 each week.
Yeah.
The next opportunity to go 1-0 is against a team that's going to be tough. Newberry, they got this game circled, I believe.
No, I don't think there's any doubt about it. I mean, it was a great game last year, a hard-fought game between two good football teams, I thought. We made the last play. That's really what it came down to last year. Fortunate. Todd does a great job.
Yeah.
They are very well coached. They're super physical on defense, very athletic. Offensively, they give you 8 million different formations and window dressings to go along with the what I call dual plays. They'll run what we call the truck sweep, trucker train, and sweep to one side, but then be RPO or quarterback run to the other. Handling the motions, and as bad as we did it last week, they're probably salivating right now. So we've got some work to do. Starting today. For the next 3 or 4 days, really grinding on that kind of stuff and playing our responsibilities and playing fast. And then, they do a great job. New offensive coordinator from Presbyterian. I've been very, very impressed with what they're trying to do. They're playing 2 quarterbacks this year. The lefty that played against us last year still throws a great deep ball. He's still probably their starter. And then they got another guy who may even be a little more athletic than him, which is crazy. Yeah. Number 1, who's also a very good player. They got a humongous back. He's number 32. Is 6'2", 235, big guy, bruising, runs good, solid in the offensive line. Number 13, the receiver, set a record last week. I think it's Whiteside. I can't remember the guy's name. I just look at numbers. So the 13 set a record. Guy's a heck of a player. Ran a post, outfought the guy. Had an 85-yard catch on a post. Had a reverse for about 25 or 30 yards. Had a up the seam. They were playing cover 1. The safety didn't get in the middle of the field. He stayed in the middle of the formation. They had outside leverage off the man-to-man, and they just beat him. He beat him down the seam. And really, the quarterback does a nice job. I'm very, very impressed with his deep ball presence. So we got to be really, really good on the deep ball. He really throws nice deep balls, gets good height on the ball, gives his guy a chance to run underneath it. So we've got to be super on the back end, but still stop the running game. I mean, to me, every game starts with the running game, and then not getting beat off play action and things off that, and handling the different motions and shifts and all this other stuff. It's window dressing. It's like putting makeup on somebody. You're trying to do these things to affect the defense, not get their eyes trained right, and then you don't have to be quite as good maybe blocking something or something else. And I think that's something that they do very, very well. I mean, they do a lot with it. We've kind of broken it down and looked at it about 4 or 5 different ways and how we want to attack it with our kids. And we'll work through our plan. Defensively, they're super athletic up front. Right. I mean, Jarvis has got some dudes. Coach Littlejohn, who's an alumnus of here. I told him he needed to be nice to us this week. I don't think he's gonna.
No.
But he's got some really good players up front. I feel like their backers can run. They're good in the secondary. They tout themselves as the best defense in the SAC. And right now, I mean, I could believe it. When you look at their personnel, top to bottom, they're as good as anybody in the SAC, or maybe better. So we've got our hands full. Obviously, we're going to go play. Hopefully we'll get a good crowd out here, good atmosphere, and hopefully we play well for them. Our kids are excited, but they know what the challenges that lie ahead, and we know that they're going to come out and give us, their best shot and try to embarrass us, on our home field. And so we've got to meet that same intensity. But I don't want to see you like, we don't need to talk. We need to play. I don't need extracurriculars. I need to play. Right. I want to play physical, fast, between the whistles, smart football, and that's what we're going to get done on Saturday. If we don't, then we're not going to win the football game. If we do, then we'll have a chance.
The Pioneers and the Newberry Wolves, always an entertaining game when the two get together. Last time Newberry came here, it wasn't always so good for the Pioneers. Last year when we went down there, it wasn't so good for the Newberry Wolves in overtime with Connor Johnston on that 2-point conversion. We'll see how it goes Saturday. And we'll even welcome back alumni Jarvis Littlejohn from Newberry.
Do we have to?
Back. We'll welcome him back.
Okay.
You just be nice before the kickoff.
I like Jarvis. I'll shake his hand.
Yes, see, there you go. Which will be 3 o'clock. Be sure to join us on the Pioneer Sports Network. Coverage begins at 2 o'clock. You can watch the game through TusculumPioneers.com, through the YouTube channel, and obviously listen on the Pioneer Sports Network, 95.5 FM, AM 1450, or around the world at TusculumPioneers.com through Jewel955.com. For everybody behind the scenes, Nick Forsberg, Dom Donnelly, and Jim Miller, he's Coach Jerry Odom. I'm Brian Staten. And until next week, go Pioneers.
The Pioneer Football Show with head coach Jerry Odom. Complete coverage of Pioneer football. 2020 hindsight with coaches and player interviews, along with the numbers behind the scoreboard. The Pioneer Football Show with Jerry Odom. A presentation of Tusculum University Athletics.